So true. It's so true. Because I think too many times we're like, why would I pay 8% out when I could have that myself? It's not going to be that tough to manage this property. Yeah, I've done that. And it is tough.
It is.
It is. They are there to collect rent, there to work for you. And I'll tell you what, it cost me a little more. It brought my profit down a little, but it freed me up a ton. All right, welcome back. This is the Massive Passive Income Show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Colter. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions of Jason and see if we can't get a few good answers out of him.
Sounds good.
All right, let's see here. Jason, can you explain what passive income through real estate really means to a busy professional?
Oh, man. So I think that's what everybody wants. I think everybody wants passive income. But passive income is easy, but also hard to come by. Passive income, real true passive income, is something that comes every single week or every single month or whatever it is without you having to do much for it. That's passive.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people are like, oh, I got passive income. Well, they're still grinding every single week to get that passive income to work. And so with real estate, passive income is if you could make money every single month, buy rents, you rent it out, whatever it is, commercial, or even if you have a Turo or whatever you're renting, it doesn't matter. If you can have that money coming in every single month with minimal brain power from you, minimal support, and minimal action, then I consider that great passive income. And why is that good for busy people? Because you're busy, I'm busy. I don't have time to fill phone calls. Why didn't you pay the rent? The toilet doesn't work anymore, something's leaking, whatever that might be. So in that passive income, you need to have somebody in there that can property manage. And property management costs, though. It costs. It's anywhere from 6 to 10%, depending on what you're doing. And so you have to factor that in. And if your property can still cash flow, and cash flow well, not, I'm barely getting $100 a month out of this threeplex after all expenses paid, that's not very good cash flow. So if it's still cash flowing well, either $100 a door or, percentage of, what's one of the percentages you usually run for acquisitions and then how much money it makes?
Yeah, the quick and dirty is a 1% rule.
1% rule. Right? Yeah, love that.
If I buy $1 million property, I want to be able to bring in $10,000 a month on it.
Yeah. So if you're doing that with property management, with all your payments, insurance, taxes, everything out the door, you're creating a 1%, then that is great passive income. Because it takes very little action from you. You have to field a couple phone calls for the property manager that says, hey, we're going to run this advertisement, or hey, you got a vacancy here. I'm going to spend a little money here or there. That is great passive income. But the problem is too many people, they wanted cash flow more, but if you wanted cash flow more, then you become the property manager or you become the handyman, and now you end up spending a whole bunch of time there, and that passive income doesn't end up being so passive anymore.
Yeah.
And for the busy professional, he doesn't have the time to do that.
So what would you say to the busy professional that doesn't have that kind of time, but wants a turnkey investment property? What would you say to them, and how would they go about finding something that's turnkey that can cash flow and allows for them to still have the peace of mind of a passive income stream?
Yeah, that's interesting too. So I think there's a big opportunity out there for a lot of people that are willing to either get the right team to help find the right deals, or spend a little time on the front end so that you can have the more passive on the back end. And that maybe takes a little bit of work. And that's why I say for the right team, maybe you need to find the right couple of partners. They go out and find these deals, and then you can be a part of that. And so you're not spending so much time at the front end, but you're getting the passive on the back end. But I think the opportunity that's coming along is all these baby boomers that are going to be retiring. They got property that are unperforming. They got properties that aren't up to par with rent, or maybe they're distressed at some point and they want to retire. They're in their 70s, they're in their 80s, they want out. And a lot of people can't qualify for that $850,000, that $1 million, that $8 million, that $10 million, whatever that, how much of that is worth now. It's really tough for the normal guy to go out and just get a loan for $12 million, right?
Yeah.
And so they've got to be open, and most are open to creativity. Creativity helps them out not only in taxes, but also helps them out with their own passive income. So as a baby boomer wants to retire, he wants to be able to get some cash up front so they can move wherever they want to move, pay off some bills, and then they want monthly income coming in every single month. So that might be a huge idea of finding a business, finding a property, finding an apartment complex of somebody that wants out, that you can create value by fixing it up, by increasing rents, whatever that may be. But it's going to take some work on the front end. But on the back end, if you do the work right, it will create huge passively passive income. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Did I hit on all the things? Or you got something else that might help out?
Yeah, no, I think you hit on all the things. I mean, one of the thoughts that I have around the partnership is, I think early on in my career is, well, but then a partner is going to want to cut. Like they want a percentage of the deal, or they want me to pay them fees, or they want them. And my mindset has completely shifted, and I wasn't completely opposed to partnerships.
Yeah.
But I think I was conditioned to the idea that partners would be bad, or they're going to take something that doesn't belong to them, or I might not be able to trust them. And all of those misconceived notions slowed me down early on in my career to making a decision that would allow for me to do a deal that would bring in a partner, whether that's somebody who found the deal, as somebody who could fund the deal, as somebody that, was a good credit partner, a cash partner, or, builder, contractor. Like all of those are considered partners, even though they might come in as like a service provider or vendor. At the end of the day, they're helping me move projects forward. And so I think speaking to the idea is that I don't have to always own 100% of a deal. I'd rather own a small piece of something big than a big piece of something small.
I love that. So true. It's so true. Because I think too many times we're like, why would I pay 8% out when I could have that myself? It's not going to be that tough to manage this property. Yeah, I've done that. And it is tough.
It is.
It is. Especially if you're running another business, or you're out working a full-time job, or you're self-employed, which is another full-time job, whatever it may be, you're busy and thinking, oh, it is. I just got to go stop by and pick up a little rent. Oh, I just got to go and, do whatever. Oh, I'm paying them 8%. Well, man, after a year of doing that, you're going to be thinking, this is too much work. I'm a horrible property manager. My wife told me early on in our career, you are a horrible property manager. And the reason is because I stopped by at these girls I was renting to at one of my first properties. They would completely lie to me. And I knew they were lying. I'm like, okay, yep, just give it to me next week. I did not have a mean bone in my body. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be like, well, you're going to pay an extra 10%. And if you don't do it, you're going to be kicked out. I'll be like, oh, hey, that sounds like a bad deal. Man, you've had 5 grandmas die now, and you've had 3 boyfriends get in motorcycle accidents. Like, wow, you got some horrible, horrible luck. And so it's you need somebody that's not vested in the property, and that's where the property management company comes in. Yep. They are there to collect rent, there to work for you. And I'll tell you what, it cost me a little more. It brought my profit down a little, but it freed me up a ton.
Well, and it reminds me too, and even as we just have this conversation, is I've got 2 properties that I need my property managers to take over.
Yeah.
Like the money comes in every single month, and I'm getting paid on those from those tenants, but I know that we're under market rent.
There you go.
And so if I'm getting $495 out of this unit and $400 out of this unit, just because I've had them leased for 10 years, doesn't mean that I shouldn't have had increases and everything else, but I've just let them kind of roll idle when I'm focusing on all of these other things that'll move the needle more than $40 a month or $50 a month. Well, the problem is you multiply that by dozens of units. Yeah. That ends up to several $1,000s per month if I can make a good decision around that.
Yeah.
So if I can increase rents by 12%, that's a fair market rent, right? I'm not trying to gouge anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have to pay 6 to 10%, like you talked about in property management. I mean, I'm already 2% ahead.
Definitely.
And I have to do less work.
And you freed up some space in your head.
Exactly.
Even though that money comes anyways, it still takes up space. Because you're like, oh, where's that money coming in? And then you got to take the check or whatever else and deposit it or make sure that it's there and then make sure things are getting paid. And then if they have any problems that they get answered. Yeah, it's so true. Most people out there, especially if you find somebody that's had a property that's been rented more than 5 years, chances are they have not raised their rents with what the going rate is. They just haven't.
Yeah.
I have a tenant that's been with me for like 12 years and I didn't raise his rent until about 2 years ago. He was paying $450 for a place that I could get $850 to $900 out of. And over the last 2 years, every 6 months, I've been bumping it about 10% every time I do a new contract. And he's staying there. Every time he says, I'm moving. I can't do this anymore. He stays because I'm still under market rent, even though I'm bumping it up 10% every 6 months until I get up to competitive. And I usually try to be a little bit low, just so I can keep people in there and, from what the market rent is, but I'm not even close to market rate yet. I mean, I'm $300 away from even getting to there, which is going to take me another year and a half, but I'm keeping them. They're awesome. And I'm raising them, slowly. And I imagine there's tons of people out there you can find that are just under market, or they just need a little fix-ups and they could get more out,
Yeah. Well, but what if we considered this as, why not just hire the property manager, increase the $300 a month and pay them their percentage, and now you're able to get the market rents while take that burden off of you so that you're not the one having the conversation. What I love about the property manager is that I'm no longer the enemy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the asset holder, and I allocate that asset to someone that can now manage it.
Yeah.
And that property manager is taking the load off so that those problems are being solved while I go and find more income producing assets.
And I do have property management that's doing it. We made the schedule to do it every 6 months to raise it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, if we bump it up $300, they will move out. We want to keep them. And then he goes, you'll be expensed to find them or people that want them, because it's a unique property, really unique.
Okay.
And they love it. So that's kind of why we're doing it the way we are. Because I was just going to go throw it up there and, increase it. I would have increased it 50%. And the property manager's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. So I probably bug him more than I should too, because I'm kind of a control freak on some of that. But it's taken me a few years to let them do what they're good at.
Sure.
And then let me do what I'm good at. Go out and find more deals,
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about a lot of really great things. We talked about passive income production. We've talked about busy professionals and then being able to find turnkey properties, some basics on analysis and like what it is that we're looking for, hiring property managers. At the end of the day, like, investing in real estate doesn't have to be such a burdensome thing.
Yeah.
It is something that can produce a passive income stream that allows for you to be able to separate yourself from it, continue to be a busy professional wherever you are, and however you work on anything that you do, while seeing income produced without you having to touch it all the time.
Yeah.
So anyways, thanks for the insights and answers to the questions. And ultimately, I think passive income producing properties, these assets can really add to the fulfillment that we have as busy professionals, but also just simply because it creates value short-term and long-term for our long-term wealth strategy. So,
love it.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.